riddle me this. How could one man murder, rape, abuse, be homophobic, transphobic, hate his fans enough to hit them in the face with a mic stand, and still be selling out world tours, arenas? I don't think there is a more hated man currently in the metal scene. I can think of metal artists that have done way worse, have been completely cancelled, no longer have a career. We hate this man more somehow. Mr. Ronnie Radke. There's definitely a middle name in there, but I am damned if I can remember what that is. Ask me like 10 years ago and maybe I could have answered. We have the shrine in the shot today. You guys know me. I'm not a very hateful person. I'm just a happy little being living my happy little life. And if I don't like something, I tend to turn away from it. This is one of those things which has always baffled me because yeah, look, I have Jackie Vincent's custom guitar. They were my favorite band from the age of 15, from the very first time that I had heard Dying Is Your Latest Fashion, and then went and listened to Escape with Fate's second album and went, what the fuck is this? Where'd the vocalist go? Oh my gosh, did that consume the next 4 years of my life as I absolutely divulged into everything about the band. If you don't know who Ronald Radke is, he is the vocalist, he is the frontman of Falling in Reverse. He has had quite the life. Now today I am purely just talking about the massive amount of hate that this man has got over social media. I want to start with what seems like the craziest one to me, which is murder. This is one where I just feel like Radke is constantly getting money by just making a video going, yeah, guys, I haven't murdered anyone. At this point, it's crazy. It has nearly been 20 years. And there's legitimately people still out there that think that he murdered someone. If you're not in the fandom, if you're not a crazy fan and you just heard in passing, yeah, that guy killed someone, you're probably just in the back of your head gonna go, shit, that guy killed someone. With a quick Google search, you can see that the man went to jail for 2 years. I don't live in America. I don't know much about Americans. I would be moving hella fast out of that country if murderers only went to jail for 2 years.
None of this is accurate. You actually think that I murdered somebody and went to prison for only 2 years, bro? Do you hear yourself? You're doing this for views. I didn't go to prison for 2 years for murder. I didn't go to prison for murder. I went to a fight and they had a gun and they pulled the fucking gun out and shot at me. So my friend shot them and fucking killed them. My friend got self-defense. My friend didn't commit suicide. My friend's still alive. Nobody got arrested. I'm the only one that got a charge months later.
Essentially, Ronnie and his friends had to meet up with a whole bunch of other friends to settle some shit, have a fight, you know, boy thing. Man, we have to fight, Sparta! Ronnie has explained this countless amount of times. I don't really understand how the American law system works, but essentially he was going to get put down for 2 felonies, possession of a weapon and concealing a weapon. Pretty sure the charge he ended up with was battery. Your friend's taking a gun, the other group of friends are taking a gun, and all you take with you is brass knuckles. If it was me, I would have just stayed in the car and waited. I wouldn't have showed up.
I'm the only one that got a charge months later for having brass knuckles on me. I pleaded from 2 felonies to 1 felony. 2 felonies being possession of a dangerous weapon, concealing a dangerous weapon, to 1 felony, battery, which never happened. I never hit anybody. I just pled to 1 felony. That's what happens when you don't want to go to trial. The DA gives you a charge, 1 felony instead of 2, so I don't have to spend longer in prison, okay? Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have showed up with brass knuckles to a fight, but I didn't murder anybody.
Somewhere in there, I remember there being something about him skipping parole or skipping his parole officers. The man was also dealing with substance abuse, so you know that's gonna probably not work in your favor when you're dealing with this kind of shit. Man ends up in jail from 2008 to 2010. If I could be getting things wrong. I didn't research for this video. I'm like, I've got enough brain juice for it. We'll figure it out.
I was supposed to get on my birthday, and they're so disgustingly mean in there. Release date was my birthday. They let me out the next day. And I got out, and I was so, oh my God, man, I couldn't go in public. It must have been a nightmare being in band with me. I couldn't do anything.
Because of your mental state.
Yeah, and I was aggressive too. I couldn't help it. I was super aggressive. You know, just hindsight is 2020. I'll just tell you that.
Unfortunately, the guy did die. So the acquaintance or friend of Ronnie Radke that shot the guy that died, he only got self-defense because that guy that died was also the first one to pull fire. I mean, someone still died, and that's incredibly sad.
So everyone thinks he's a murderer. He's not. So he got arrested because he had brass knuckles. The guy that shot the guy was self-defense, right? And he didn't go to prison at all. Ronnie was just out on probation, had brass knuckles in Nevada, and they're like, you can't do that. You're going to prison for 2.5 years. This was a long time ago. This was like 12 years ago or something like that. Anyway, he goes to prison, gets sober in prison, and comes out, and he made a band while in prison called Fallen in Reverse. He comes out and is instantly successul because he does all the songwriting, he does all the instruments, he does everything in his band. He does beats everything, right? He's a genius.
I remember one of my favorite interviews might actually be the one where Radke's wearing something fluoro, maybe it's like a yellow shirt or like some sunglasses, denim vest, Nikki Sixx haircut. And I remember he's talking about how he had written pretty much the whole album, the whole first Falling in Reverse album in prison. And I remember him doing the I'm Not a Vampire drumming just on his legs, talking about how he had to sing super quietly. And if you know anything about Ronnie Radke, he has like this big theatrical voice, so he had to like learn how to re-sing again and everything post prison.
Yeah, when I got out, I already wrote the Drug Amazes You album in prison, like I'm not a vamp, just like that on my legs. I had to whisper it, couldn't sing loud because there was other people there, and it was kind of embarrassing. It was like a bunch of gangsters in there.
I just think those are just like fun little details around that time of his life, though going to prison is terrible. He managed to get clean and we got an amazing album out of it. I believe that album came out in like 2010. I could sit here for ages and talk about this trial. It's pretty interesting and I will probably do a whole different video on it. So nevertheless, that's the huge, scary Ronnie Radke that murdered someone. Something that I haven't seen as much now, and I hope me making this video doesn't prompt me seeing more of these videos of people accusing him of this. There were allegations back in 2012 with one of his ex-girlfriends. I think they might have been having an argument, or maybe this just happened after the breakup. Don't quote me on this. And also, I wasn't there. I'm not Ronnie Radke. Not that I need to tell you. Do I look like Ronnie Radke? You know what? I don't actually think I want you to answer that. We are kind of giving Nikki Sixx. 2012. I believe her name was Sally? Yeah, well, we're gonna call her Sally. 2012, ring-a-ding-ding, assault claims. This case started in 2012 and we didn't get the resolution until 2014. Sally went onto Twitter to say that he was found guilty, it just didn't go to trial. Ronnie said the complete opposite, and from what we have accessible to us, seems like Ronnie's the one telling the truth there. Ronnie was arrested during this domestic violence case, but it was actually for not showing up for the court hearings, which eventually he was bailed out for $30,000. So though the original charges of false imprisonment and assault were dropped, he did plead guilty for disturbance of the peace. That seems like a very broad offense, should we call it? If I was actually to cast my own opinion out there like a good fish, I would say if I was to look at this charge that was actually plead versus the original ones, I'm guessing that maybe there was just a bit of a boisterous argument. This is giving me like Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, what's happening, what's going on. Was this as well as 2015, he got not charged. He got accused with, there were two SA accusations, one that happened with purely just a bodyguard whilst Ronnie Radke was performing, and she claimed the second time happened in a car with Ronnie Radke and his bodyguard at the same time. Now, it just came out that there was some big contradicting things that happened between these accusations. Firstly, the bodyguard was backstage whilst Ronnie Radke was performing, so it doesn't make any sense as to how he could have been in two places at once. So for the second account, apparently Radke and the bodyguard were in the car, except Radke was in the front seat, which was completely contradicting her story. To sum it all up for you, it ended with Ronnie suing her for defamation. Everyone deals with things differently, but I feel like the last thing that I would ever want to do is one, go onto social media, and two, like have interviews and things about it. It seems a little wild to me to think that people can talk about it so much, but again, I'm not her and I know that people deal with things very differently. Like I said, I like to play the role of the white picket fence. I like to just stay very firmly in the middle and say, to be a Frankfurter, I ain't Ronnie, nor am I the people on the other side. I have no clue, and all I can see is records and police records where crimes have been dismissed and suings have been pursued. I would hope that the justice system would be just, but when I look at the facts and the evidence of hard paper that is accessible to me, don't yell at me, I'm merely just a girl on the internet.
Saying that I got accused of rape. You're acting like I fucking actually raped somebody.
I think these are the two allegations that definitely started the whole Ronnie Radke's a womanizer. When if you actually look at the man now and hear about the things that he does purely just at shows and how conscious his brain is and how he's like, this shit that bands do is so f***ed up.
Like, yeah, dude, like, there's been a couple times back in the day I wore a bra on my head, and then one day I looked out into the crowd and realized they were, like, back in the day, not anymore, everybody's grown up now. We have young fans, old fans, I get it. But back in the day, it was all, like, younger fans. And I remember looking out and being like, stop throwing your bras on stage. This is weird. You know that band All Time Low? Then I realized All Time Low. This is so crazy. Oh my God. So the guitar player would collect bras and put them on his thing, and the bras would all add up, like to where there was so many by the end of the show. And one day on Warped Tour, I went to watch them, and I'm just looking out in the crowd, and I'm seeing there's just so many young fans throwing their bras up on stage. And in my head, I'm like, this guy's gotta know that these people are young. And since then, I never looked at him the same or that band for letting them do that.
You're so young, you can't be doing this, man. Where's your mom at right now? Where's your parents? This is weird. No, I'm not putting it on. It's gross. It's weird. No, don't do it. Stop throwing your dirty, nasty balls on stage, dude. We're not all-time low. We don't like that shit. It's gross. Makes me feel uncomfortable.
One of the things about Radke is he's very confident, loud, and outspoken, and I don't think he is overly afraid to make mistakes. I think he's aware that he is a human, and if he does make a mistake, he teaches himself on it and he does better next time. So one of the great things, coming back to the womanizing side of things about Radke, is if you grew up as a 2010 emo, possibly earlier as well, I don't know, I wasn't there, but I was a 2010 emo, it was very common to throw your bra up on stage to the bands. Radke says it perfectly, where he looked down at his fans and he's like, this is fucking weird. And, you know, he's looked at other bands that continue to do it and he's like, bro, how have you not clicked yet? Like, how have you not clicked that this is really strange and you should not be doing this to your younger fans? I'm getting way too far ahead of myself. We need to, like, calm down. We'll get there. In 2012, Falling Reverse performed in Six Flags Festival in New Jersey. At the end of this performance, Radke threw multiple mic stands into the crowd. And one of the mic stands just, well, actually, I don't know if there is a right way to really catapult a mic stand into the crowd, but one of the mic stands was really going for gold, and unfortunately it hit 2 crowd members. I've seen a lot about the girl who got a gash on her head, and I believe the second person was a guy. Maybe he just got bumps and bruises, maybe it didn't hit him in the face, I'm really not too sure. There's also reports and articles that he got arrested for this. I haven't been able to find a police report, so I'm guessing maybe it's one of those kind of like the cops just had to come and get you and ask you some questions, you paid some money, off you go and have a good night.
I threw some mic stands into the crowd. Okay, I injured somebody. Stupid, right? Yeah, she got a cut. She got some stitches. She's not mad. She got $800,000 for it. She's not mad, guys. You guys are mad, and she's not.
With the mic stand incident, absolutely terrible. Like, that is really tragic. I believe Radke paid. I don't want to say anything. I'd rather put it up on screen and know that I get the right numbers. And he hasn't thrown a mic stand first. Yes, it would have been great for him to have the foresight, but also, he grew up in like a new era. Back in the Marilyn Manson days, the Motley Crue days, shit like this did happen. 80s and 90s, like, rock and roll was fucking brutal. I actually found a Twitter quote where Ronnie talks about this. So he says, Axl Rose, that's from Guns N' Roses, the vocalist, he caused riot resulting in multiple deaths. We have Travis Scott sued by a fan claiming he was paralyzed. This article is from 2020, prior to the 2021 Astroworld incident. So that's aged like rotting meat. Amy Winehouse punching fans. He then says, Keith Richards hits fans with guitars, shall I continue? So Radke knows a lot about different genres, more than me, which is why I thought this quote was good to read out, because it hits multiple different genres, saying that it's not just metal, it's not just 80s dad rock. And coming into the 2000s, you had to learn how to be metal as and still fucking look after each other. What do we do when the brother falls down in the pit? We pick him up.
People don't realize when I threw the mic stands is I did it before that, and I did it a lot. And I did it not because I wanted to hurt. I'm not trying to hurt my fans. Usually they put their hands up and they catch it. And one time my manager goes, hey man, this is not a good idea. Your band's getting too big and this is not a punk rock show anymore. The crowds are getting bigger. The stages are getting taller. It might hurt somebody, so don't do that. You know, I'm like, I'm not going to change who I am, dude. This is punk. You know what I mean? Being stupid, right? I went and did the thing I normally do and I threw it the wrong way though. I was throwing it this way. And usually I take it and I hold it like this and I throw it out like that. And it fucked somebody up. They fucked 2 people up. And the girl defended me. She went and defended me. And people don't see those things though.
This last one is the largest roaring lion that I have ever seen inside of Central Park. Is Central Park a zoo, or has Madagascar really thrown me the wrong way? I have so many side quest questions that I'd like to Google right now. Ronnie Radke has really cut himself down the middle when it comes to the LGBTQ plus community. Are we familiar with Dylan Melvin? I would like to say that I'm going to get better with pronouncing names, because I'd like to believe that one day I would, but I am a 26-year-old little lass and I think I'm digressing. I need to say my stances real quick. I believe that anybody should be able to be who they want to be. I reckon they should be able to be who they want to be and do what they want to do within the law, of course. Be who you want to be, look how you want to look, present how you want to present. I reckon we should be able to do all those things so much to a point that we don't have to declare that we have done them. That's kind of my belief. But I know that not everyone in this world is as loving or as accepting or for some reason care too much about what other people do with their lives. It's someone else's life, bro. Like, it really doesn't affect you. I kind of have a fun story. So my name's Moo, right? Which, as you could imagine, I feel like this is actually kind of a good example because, like, I feel like a lot of times some people are like, oh, well, I'm like straight and cis. I don't fully understand. Well, let me tell you a story about Moo. Every time that Starbucks is really good at this, but every time I go to order something like a Boost Juice, I don't know what else I order where I use my name. Let's get a Boost Day. I go to order Boost Juice. Whenever they go to call out my name, it's always Mo. And I laugh because, like, yeah, I've got a weird name. Like, it's probably not something that people are used to. Once I correct them on what my name is, they're pretty accepting of it. And I kind of just wish that for everybody. Some of them are like, what? And I have to do the whole, you know, like a cow, you know, with the... I do want to add in the reverse here that if I did bump into someone that said, nah, I'm not calling you that, or no way, I'm calling you Mo, I don't have the energy in me to fight them. I would say, no, yeah, it is Moo, but after 2 or 3 times, I would just walk away. If they are a stranger and I do not know them, that's fine. I don't need them in my life. So I don't really understand the huge Twitter wars over the pronouns things. Yes, it can be disrespectful, but this does happen, and unfortunately in social media, we are all linked to everybody. And some people are going to fucking hate the fact that I have a farm animal voice box for my name. And I honestly couldn't care less. And to be honest, I feel like a name is someone's identity more than anything else in this world. And I think if you feel disrespected by someone about something that relates very heavily to your identity, whether you are a girl that plays soccer or it's something that someone calls you, I think your energy is better well put into finding people around you that make you feel loved and respected than these huge fights online, because I feel like all that could ever do is make someone feel worse. And by someone, I mean you. Unfortunately, the human race is so bloody complicated. We are never ever going to all be on the same page, and social media just makes that fact sting more because we get to see a billion more opinions than what we would have ever seen back in the day when we were just dealing with face-to-face interactions. I have gone on such a big side quest. Let's go back to Dylan real quick. So Ronnie Radke put out this tweet after Dylan had made a video with tampons, and he was under the impression, I believe, that he thought it was a sponsorship deal. It was actually quite hard for me to find where this came from, but after a little bit of searching and digging, I think I have found the source as to what has caused Ronnie Radke to get the huge label of like bigot and transphobe and homophobe and all of this, and it is the Dylan situation. I think purely what he was trying to get out here is not that he hates trans women. It could have been a potential opportunity taken away from a cis female creator. I don't want this to sound offensive. Remember my further statement that still stands. I do believe that trans women should get equal rights and they should have equal opportunities, but I'd like to just flip it around real quick. And I think what his mind was seeing was, what if there was like a really specific trans woman product and they're advertising it for trans women and this great product or opportunity for trans women, and they just got a cis woman to advertise it? I think that's like, if we could sit in Radke's shoes for a second, I think that's where his brain's going, where I think if he had seen the opposite reversed, he would have said, why have they gotten a cis woman to do that? That's so inappropriate. I do believe that everybody should be treated as equal and we should all get equal opportunities, but there's also still the right kind of person for certain sponsorships. Pregnant women would be hella upset with me if I started advertising like post-pregnancy pads. They'd be like, show us the baby, Moo. Have you ever shot a baby out? And I'd have to sit there and be like, no, I'm sorry. I just think that he is so for equal rights. Equality gets kind of tricky because sometimes we're at so much equality that it's all of a sudden not equal at all. It gets really confusing. My brain hurts. See, here's the kicker about the situation where I'm kind of like, Radke, you kind of fucked up here. It wasn't a sponsorship deal. Tampax came out and was like, we didn't pay for this. I haven't actually watched the video, but it wasn't a paid deal at all, and I'd humbly sit myself down if I had done such a thing. But to this day, he is still getting constant hate for transphobia, homophobia, all of this stuff. It has actually kind of helped the trans community a little bit because Radke's like, look at all my trans friends, look at all my gay friends. And then he's also gone and given them all jobs in his music video. I think this is a perfect representation of right person, right job, giving equal opportunities to people, because if there is a role for a female role just to play a cowboy, any female in the world could do that. I think this is amazing. I also think Radke probably would have done this anyways.
So you're pretty much saying that since I put 2 trans people and a gay guy in my music video, that it's like me having one black friend and saying I'm not racist, right? What about the 2 trans people who were just at my house 2 days ago helping me with my outfits? And that I hired to work on my music videos with, the 2 trans people. What about the gay guy that just did my hair last night for the Saddle Ranch event I just did? What about like 12 years ago when I put Jeffree Star in my music video? I think I've done more for the LGBTQ than you have ever done in your fucking life.
I don't know about you, but I am feeling 22. Fuck! I don't know about you, but I think it is a very good thing for him to be that self-aware, because he is a big energy, and there are a lot of big energies in the scene that are not self-aware, and that just means that shit just keeps happening. Do we want to look at Johnny Craig? Do we want to look at him? No, we don't. We never want to look at him. I believe that people are allowed to make mistakes. And I think that we shouldn't hold him accountable to these mistakes that he's made in his past if he is working on changing, if he's working on being a better person, if he's working really hard to support community. I need to say that trying is definitely the wrong word. I think that he's naturally a pretty given person, and in exchange, he's probably very cautious to not be taken advantage of. To support fans, like, did I mention that he posts people's GoFundMes? He donates to the GoFundMes themselves.
I would be so embarrassed to be a Fallen in Reverse fan. Well, guess what, buddy? Check this out. Here's a fan. Huge fan, bro. I know you probably don't do stuff like this, but if you could shout out my GoFundMe for my dentures. I had cancer in my early 20s and radiation messed my teeth all the way up. I post it. Guess what my fans that you should be so embarrassed to be a Fallen Verse fan do? Within 20 minutes, 100% completed it.
He's always doing huge giveaways to his fans, but then I think about it and I'm like, wait, that giveaway would cost him a lot of money. We don't see bands doing that anymore. He literally just gave away like a race car. The shit.
He'll shout out GoFundMes and fans and stop shows to make sure people are okay. Like, if you actually paid attention, he is a very decent human being who just has a persona that people don't like because it's not polished.
I think he's trying incredibly hard to help the LGBT community where he can, and what he doesn't like is putting up with people essentially trying to bully him. But again, I'm not him. This is just kind of what I've taken from looking at him for so many years and seeing the things that he's done, because I don't know if I'd say an obsessed fan, but I didn't have many friends, so I had a lot of time to watch a lot of interviews. I mean, even people look at his music, right? The reason I loved his music is because he didn't take himself too seriously.
What's up, guys? I'm gonna rate my worst songs from bad all the way to ass. Here we go. Starting off with Good Girls, Bad Guys. This song is just straight up ass. You look back on this and you cringe. Like if you don't look back on your music and cringe, then you're doing it wrong. That means you're not changing. You know, I get it. At the time, it was like, it was fun. You know what I mean? It was fun. And looking back on it, I'm like, this is literally ass. My life is like a video game. On a scale of 1 to ass. Most of my stuff is tongue-in-cheek. Like, it's not, I don't take myself too seriously. When I made Game Over and stuff like that, it was supposed to be, fans that grew up with me knew that I was tongue-in-cheek, but the new fans that are coming in and new people that are like, who's this guy? They're like, what the hell is this? Because everything is so serious now, they don't realize when something's tongue-in-cheek. But let me tell you guys something. Even when it's tongue-in-cheek, it's still ass. I wish bands would be more honest with their fans about what they think is ass, but nowadays everybody's so fucking serious all the time. They take themselves too serious now.
Shitting in Pampers. I thought it was funny. I liked it. I loved that there was a band out there that was crazy talented, making great music, and was all tongue-in-cheek as well. I remember in his last album, it might have been a bonus track, or maybe it's like just the last track on the album. It literally starts, he's got a funny voice, he's going, "Hello Earthlings, your favorite alien's back." When I listened to that album, it felt very like serious and theatrical. It is a beautiful album. It's not one of my favorites purely because there wasn't loads of giggles in it. And then it got to the last 2 songs, and I remember I just kept rewinding my CD in my Mitsubishi FTO. Boys, look out. It's got a V6 and a fresh fully reverse disc in it. I kept rewinding those 2 songs for like 3 or 4 playthroughs, even though I was already home and parked up. If your car goes when you put it into park, get it checked. As I said in my last video, I think that if we purely do not like someone, if we don't enjoy tongue-in-cheek, if we don't enjoy people feeling the need to speak out on their opinions, which, hey, yeah, opinions can be a lot. Got a lot of them up here and they're all about myself. I think we should be able to maybe just block ourselves from seeing that person on social media, just keep scrolling past. But it's the fact that so many people put so much effort into purely putting all this hate out into the world. So he's kind of a bit of a marketing genius. The reason that he goes back and forth with these people is it just kind of builds hype, but as well, there's a creator fund on Instagram and TikTok in America. He films one video and he puts it to both channels. They both get 1 million views. How much money do you think he just earned from that one video? Not that money is everything, but this Ronnie Radke persona, that's his business. Falling in Reverse, that's his business. And it's kind of just like he found another stream. I may not look like it, but I like to identify as a businessman in a skirt.
He should be studied by marketing students because that man is a marketing fucking mastermind. If you cannot understand the amount of fuck you money he's making from his trolling the trolls comments and stitches and videos, like you personally, the hate is funding his fun time.
I've got his mugshot up on my wall and it has been on my wall for 10 years. I was like, who the prints their mugshot and signs it and then sells it? So I bought it because I thought it was funny. And I used to have it in my living room. And I just really wish Nana was in the same country as me so she could come around for dinner and go, oh, you know, I was going to do heroin tonight, but their Ronnie Radke posters convinced me differently. I think that we should allow people to make mistakes, pull them up on the mistake, and then hope that they change and let them be a better person. If someone is just being terrible and they are doing terrible things over and over again, I've said so many naughty words in here. YouTube is going to be wagging their finger. Oh, I'm going to get so cancelled. I feel like one of the things is people are quite mad that I don't think at this point you can cancel Ronnie Radke. I would hope that wouldn't happen until someone proved that they're not able to change. And also we need to let people make multiple mistakes of different variations. This has been therapy with Moo. This is just the one thing that gets me about the internet. And I think we've seen that. We've seen that through my eyeballs, that I have really fucking strong principles when it comes to friendships and how we should treat people, and like some of the courtesy that we give to strangers, some of the courtesy that we give to our friends, we also need to give to our loved ones. But we also need to like reverse that and not be as hard on people that have made mistakes. I'm going around in circles. I am quite literally starting a mosh pit in my mind. Is my bum out? Oh, that's gonna have to be blurred. I'm so sorry, Nana. Please don't hate me. If you don't like Ronnie Radke, that's so okay. Like I said, I think we should be able to scroll past and go, don't like that person. That content's not for me. I would love to know your thoughts on this. If you found anything that I've missed, make sure to let me know. Thank you to all of the Patreons. I honestly wouldn't be able to do this without you. Love you guys and your support and everything. And also everybody else. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'm hoping to try get to 50k by the end of the year. She is
anything but if not ambitious.
Yeah, that came out of my mouth like a minced up can of tuna. I will see you guys every day on my short form videos and next week.